Thank you, Dr. Nundi, for this nice invitation, and I would like to thank AIOC also for this nice arrangement. I'll go through a few surgical tips which is being related to LMH-related epiretinal proliferation. So, as you all know, it was described by Gass in 1976, which he thought about it's a partial thickness lesion resulting from cystoid macular edema. An international vitreomacular traction study group has defined probably it's a defect in inner fovea with irregular contour, irregular splitting, intraretinal splitting, and mostly intact photoreceptor layer. Primarily, it's related to PVD. Secondary, we have multiple reasons as like unroofed cystoid edema, end-stage ARMD, MACTEL type 2, different toxicities, and partial closure of full thickness macular hole. So if few definitions are required before we go to the actual presentation. So epiretinal membrane is defined as irregular and hyperreflective layer over the ILM. This is very important, and with signs of wrinkling of underlying retina and hyporeflective spaces in between the ERM and the ILM. Whereas epiretinal proliferation is a thick, homogeneous, isoreflective. So it's very difficult to differentiate epiretinal proliferation, which is fully adherent layer over ILM with no hyporeflective spaces in between the membrane and the ILM. ERM foveoschisis is at the level of Henle's layer with or without microcystoid spaces in the internal nuclear layer and retinal thickening as well as wrinkling, and macular pseudohole, which is usually a foveal center sparing ERM, verticalized or stiffened. The first picture in the left side here is a epiretinal membrane where we can see gap in between and it's a hyperreflective layer. The right side is a epiretinal proliferation, which is almost isoreflective, and there is no gap in between the retina as well as in the membrane. So there are some topographic appearance. There are a lot of studies on that. They have the normal ERM. They have the terminologies where ERM, fractional ERM, conventional ERM, typical fractional ERM, where the thick homogeneous material of medium reflectivity was terminalized as thick ERM, dense ERM, lamellar hole associated epiretinal proliferation, or atypical retinal tissue. So these are the evolving concepts. Fractional ERM, as I've already described, and this is the degenerative lamellar macular hole, which will go into this. So epiretinal proliferation is a hallmark of LHEP. If we see the left side, the typical ERM LMH is having wrinkling, interphotoreceptor layer, and good visual acuity. On the right side, if you see, this comes visually, it's derived from Muller cells. So there's a degenerative process involved here. We can see low visual acuity, photoreceptor disruption, and rarely traction. And during surgery or during examination, this LHEP usually have a yellowish hue, which is seen intraoperatively because of the carotenoids from macular xanthophyll. And it is seen in around 26% of patients of full thickness macular hole, which requires surgery, which can be diagnosed by sometimes a negative staining. So when to plan surgery? Definitely when you have a symptomatic patient with more distortion, 60% LHEP associated with thick membrane, surgery who have progressive disabling visual loss, and vision where it's less than 20/40 with evidence of ERM, but cataract should always be considered as a confounding factor. So LHEP progression, this picture, if you see serially, there is a disruption of photoreceptor layer. LHEP shown in the white arrows, very thick. It's isoreflective, not much of gap with retina, and it has progressed to a full thickness macular hole, which can actually have anatomical progression around 20% around after 2 years and up to 33% after 8 years. So surgical techniques, I'll go into the video directly, but there are a few techniques. The techniques by Takahashi, they have planned embedding of LHEP in retinal cleavage for better closure of LMH. Moreshalsi, they advocated leaving intact ILM around the fovea, which is also called foveal sparing technique. And Lai et al. Advocated trimming of the LHEP around the whole margin with scissors. So these are two techniques. The first one was the embedding technique for the treatment of degenerative lamellar macular hole by Takahashi, and the next one is a modified surgical technique. It was published by Dr. Kitesh Kumar from Vishai Hospital. So this is the technique where we just embed the cutout of the ear of the LHEP, and it stuck into the lamellar macular hole. So this is a small video where you can see the negative staining after vitrectomy and PVD induction. We can get a negative staining of the LHEP. So in a circular fashion, it's very sticky, so it's sometimes difficult to remove it from the surface. So we just try to rotate from circumferential from the macular hole. So it is being actually peeled from all, so, and brought into the center. So epiretinal flap is now there. So you then stent the ILM. Sorry. So you stent in the ILM after that. Once we have the ERM flap, and now you peel the ILM. So now you peel the ILM edge of the macular hole. And once you have you have two membranes now surrounding the lamellar macular hole, which is being made two flaps just to cover the lamellar macular hole. First one is the ERM and second one is the ILM. So you remove the peripheral ILM till arcade.
With all due to respect, I request Dr. Sudeepa Das, can you please sum it up within the next 30 seconds,
Yeah.
please, Doctor?
So this is embedding technique with the soft tip cannula after that. So if we compare this patient on the left side with typical ERM has a good visual acuity post vitrectomy, compared to the right side, visual acuity was not as good as in case of LHAP. But the surgical difficulties, as you have seen, it's difficult sometimes because of this friable LHAP. There's a degenerative LMH, and which can lead to macular thinning, full thickness macular hole, and dense epiretinal proliferation have a yellow, dense, fluffy appearance, which sometimes becomes difficult to remove. This is a meta-analysis. Surgical outcome, I'll go into the conclusion. Most of the LMH proliferation with minimal visual complaints can be observed. Though LMH, LHEP carries poor prognosis, but surgery is advocated if there is increasing metamorphopsia and decreasing vision. Preoperative OCT biomarkers are helpful to counsel a patient in LHEP. They help in serial follow-up too. And newer modifications in surgery of LHEP, as shown in the video, are showing promising anatomical and functional results. Thank you so much.